This programme is funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.
It's easy to love ourselves when we're doing everything right. It's easy to love ourselves when everything's going perfect. But if we feel shame or guilt, or if we've made mistakes, it's harder to love ourselves then. So the self-compassion model urges us to love every part of ourselves, to understand every part of ourselves.
Hello, I'm Maria Staunton.
And I'm Mary Costello.
And this is Making It, the show that reveals the true stories of Mayo's women in business. From top executives, to artists, to female founders, to those providing essential services in our local towns.
Stay with us for the next 20 minutes. And who knows, you might hear the advice or inspiration you need to get your own dream off the ground. Hi, I'm Mary Costello and welcome to Making It. You know, authenticity has become such a buzzword these days. It's a kind of holy grail for online marketers and influencers. But for my guest this week, authenticity means something so much more important than that. Today, we're diving into the world of peer support, an approach to mental health that has been pioneered in the west of Ireland by Elaine Browne, and the business that she founded in Claremorris in 2018, Perspective. For those who don't know what peer support is, how does she describe what she does?
I suppose what I'm being called in the field of peers at the moment, and by my seniors, would be either a senior peer support worker or a peer coach. So that means that I've come through mental health struggles, and I would ultimately meet people and be equal to them in the struggles we have gone through, or we are going through, or trying to make sense of. But also I would have a lot of skills now to give people that would help them get back in control or feel more empowered to look after their mental health.
This is a relatively new approach, so sometimes Elaine has to overcome a bit of scepticism from her new clients.
Yeah, when people come to Perspective, actually, they say, I don't know if this will work because I've tried counselling before. And I say, have you ever tried peer coaching? And they can never say yes, because I'm the only peer coach in Mayo, you know. So I think, well, just try and keep an open mind, you know. And I suppose that lack of open-mindedness around our own mental health and other people's mental health is a mental health issue in itself, you know, and we have to be careful with that, because that might be denial, it might be fear that someone wants to go there, or because I think definitely through this side of the pandemic, I can see that everybody has mental health. We just all have it at different levels, you know, so everybody needs to be minding their mental health at the moment, with all the grief, the loneliness, everything that's going on.
Elaine grew up in Claremorris and went away to study, first in Maynooth and then later in Dublin, to qualify in peer support. She then worked for some time as a peer support worker with the HSE before launching her independent service. So I wondered if there had been entrepreneurship in her family background. Was she brought up in a business environment?
In a business? No, farmer's daughter. Not at all. I was out and loved it. We had brilliant summers. The only thing I didn't like about farming was doing the turf. You know, couldn't see any sense to that. No, we had vegetable gardens. My dad milked cows. We raised cattle. We did the hay, the barley. We sowed vegetables, potatoes. It was very much country, organic living. But I suppose from a very young age, I was even though I would have been quite a quiet child and would have gone off into my own world a lot, I was very independent thinker. I liked school to a point. I suppose I would have struggled a bit with a teacher along the way. And again, you know, there's been a lot of healing through the years and stuff, but definitely having met this person on my path would have been it would have had a major impact on me.
Fast forward again, and Elaine was in her job in the HSE when she had an experience that gave her the push to set up her own peer support centre and provided its name.
After a lot of years of relying on a traditional mental health service, I got sick for a second time, and it was a very brief time. And because I had done a brilliant course, which is a very short course, and I recommend everyone to do it, it's called the Wellness Recovery Action Plan. So that is called the WRAP program. I hit a really low point for the first time in about 10 years where I got really depressed physically. The symptoms manifested overnight and I was extremely suicidal. So I would have been high risk. So because I had done the WRAP program enabled me to make a plan with my loved ones and keep me safe. So what happened through that time was I took an entirely different perspective. I realized that no service was, and I can only speak for myself, that no service was going to make me well until I found the answers for that inside of me, the motivation inside of me, the get up and go. And the get up and go with mental health is hard. So sometimes getting out of bed and, managing to put your feet on the floor or get dressed is a start, but you have to start somewhere. So I decided to leave the HSE at that time. I was working in the HSE as a peer support worker, and I knew I wanted something different. I trusted my gut, I suppose, and I knew that this was possible for other people as well after I had come out of that dangerous depression, because it was something I hadn't experienced before. And I suppose that perspective has worked because it works for so many so far in the building, and I've been at the happiest place of my life for a lot of years now.
And talk to us about what gives you a buzz about your work. Describe the kind of moments that are the big reward.
With somebody today, when you go through a review with somebody, and so I would have done a lot of reviews with people after the Christmas, and just seeing where people are at and being with the person today and just saying, how do you feel things have changed for you in the last 8 months? And, phenomenal change. Coming in and having presented to the service, having come out of a deeply suicidal period, a lot of social anxiety, so wouldn't have been able to leave the house, relationship issues, really low self-confidence. So it's, the work that you do with that person on a weekly basis and the relationship that you've built up, and it's so equal and it's so trusting, and just the sense of, I don't know if it's pride or even delight for that person that they're there, and it's not even pride. It's like, oh my God, yeah, they have it too. Because I remember that feeling. I remember, thinking, Jesus, it's been a year since I've thought about suicide, and that's phenomenal, So seeing somebody else get it, but you'd have regular sort of magic moments that you'd be kind of blown away with, and it's beginning to happen now. I always say one person who comes to the service, because they're alive, they will always have a knock-on effect on someone else. So because people who have moved on and are doing good, other people spot stuff in them and want to know how they did it. So you get people showing up saying, oh, you helped so-and-so, so can you help me? And I always say, well, I can't make any promises, but you're kind of thinking, well, I think it'll be okay if they're willing to put in the work. But you would never promise that.
When people are coming to you through word of mouth like that, you must be doing something right. From a marketing point of view, Elaine is also active on social media, and early on she did some flyers and newspaper ads. But since last year, she's found the majority of her business is referrals from people who've used Perspective themselves. She's also keen to engage in community with events, taster workshops and shorter courses that give people a chance to try the service.
I was in a women's group, the Quorum here in Claremorris. They had me part of their women's group, a beautiful, beautiful group. And the women in the group were saying, oh my goodness, we've never done this before in their lives. So I did like 4 weeks with them. And now they've asked me to come back once a month because after 4 weeks, they felt such benefits from everything. And of course I was delighted because they're so lovely, and I love to see people changing, and you can see the glow in them as they go. It's powerful.
I asked Elaine if she could name 3 of the most important business skills she's needed along the way.
I think authenticity is a big one, especially for the business that I'm in.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Welcome to this Wednesday evening's connection group.
So that would mean that, like, very much now I'm the same person inside my house as I am going up the road to work, as I am in work, as I am on Zoom with the client or in the building with the client, or whether I'm in a meeting, you know, with a national group.
How are you all?
Good to see you, Elaine.
Yeah,
Hi,
you
everyone.
too. You too.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you both.
I'm the same person.
Can't believe we're at the end of the year with you.
That matters to me in my business.
I feel like you're all leaving me, but you're not leaving, really.
Not at all, Elaine.
Don't ever leave me or I'll find you.
Courage, definitely courage. Courage to be yourself, to take risks, even when everybody else is saying, no, I don't think that's a great idea, or I don't think you'll make money from it. I suppose I didn't go in to make money from it anyway. Just the courage to trust your instinct. The third one, I think, hard work. Mary, I have worked hard, and I do need to cut back, but I suppose, I'd work, especially now, I'd be working from home and at the building. Then between September and December, I was studying again. Just discipline, be prepared for the hard work and teasing out things and getting things right. And just the discipline of it in creating methods and consistency and having everything done properly.
Many of us are familiar with the idea of imposter syndrome. It's the name given to a persistent self-doubt, a feeling that we haven't earned our successes. It's a kind of fear that we're going to be found out as a fraud. All of this, even though everyone else can see that we're qualified and competent. Elaine traces such feelings back to a fundamental need to love ourselves.
One of the models of care at Perspective is the self-compassion model. And it sounds so girly, the self-compassion model. And you think it's all, I'll have a lovely bath tonight and put on lovely perfume and conditioner in my hair. The self-compassion model for people is one of the hardest models to master, because it's easy love ourselves when we're doing everything right. It's easy love ourselves when everything's going perfect. But if we feel shame or guilt, or if we've made mistakes, it's harder to love ourselves then. So the self-compassion model urges us to love every part of ourselves, to understand every part of ourselves. And there's a massive exercise around that at Perspective, which is very powerful. But stuff like that would lessen the imposter syndrome and that kind of critic that a lot of people would carry around on a daily basis.
Of course, a lot of us have been carrying that critic around since we were quite young. So Elaine also runs a hugely successful programme for children and teens called Tribe. But she also wants to see a change in how we teach mental health in schools.
I think the well-being that's taught in schools at the moment is not adequate. And I've had children on Tribe as young as 6, and when they get it at that age and it becomes a language, when it becomes a way of life, I truly believe that it can prevent mental health issues, suicide, self-harm, drug addiction, alcohol addiction by the time they come to their teens. And, personal value, body issues and personal values around the body and stuff.
Perspective has led the way in the west of Ireland, and for Elaine, her journey is wrapped up with this particular part of the world.
For me personally, I'm back here 10, 11 years, and it's a great source of healing for me to be back here. This is the town that I left when I was in high risk with mental health. So it's personally really healing to be back here. It always wrecked my head that I had to go to Dublin for every conference or and that they have everything up here. So the fact that there is now a second peer support centre on the west of Ireland, on the coast, in Donegal, I think we have a real possibility now through all the pivoting and adapting that we have been doing through COVID to, I've definitely become more local. Studio 26 in Claremorris did my website. We're more conscientious about supporting each other, affirming each other, working together, ways in which we can work together. It just, in every which way, this wouldn't have worked for me in Dublin. It would have been, it's a way of life down here that I would have never got when I was living, in Dublin or up east or London, or I wouldn't have got it.
You've been listening to Making It. A big thank you to my guest this week, Elaine Browne. You can find Perspective on Mount Street above the Family Resource Centre in Claremorris. Alternatively, visit the website perspectiveireland.ie or go to facebook.com/Perspective Ireland. While we're on the subject, we also have a Facebook page. Just search for Making It Mayo. We'd be delighted to see you there. You can also email makingitmayo@gmail.com. This show was recorded remotely for Claremorris Community Radio. Find out how you can get involved in the work of the station at ccr946.ie. I'm Mary Costello. Until next time, thanks for listening.
This programme is funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.